Cultivating inner peace through mindful movement. Finding stillness in motion, friends, fellow travelers on this path of self discovery. Before we embark on this shared exploration, perhaps it would serve us well to inquire into the very essence of our being here. Are, are we approaching this gathering with fragmented minds, compartmentalized lives, seeking a quick fix, a techniques, another piece to add to the puzzle? Or can we, even for a moment, strive for a holistic perspective, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, the inherent unity within our seeming divisions? I pose this question not as a test, but as an invitation. An invitation to meet each other, not merely in the realm of words and concepts, but in a deeper, more fundamental way. To acknowledge the fractured nature of our existence, the relentless demands of career, the tangled web of relationships, the societal pressures that pull us in 1,000 different directions. Can we, recognizing this fragmentation, approach the subject of inner peace with a fresh perspective, a renewed sense of wonder? We speak of inner peace, a sanctuary of calm within the storm of life. We yearn for it, seek it, read about it, perhaps even attempt to cultivate it through various practices. But how often do we truly question the underlying assumptions, the ingrained conditioning that shapes our very understanding of what it means to be at peace? We are, from a very young age, conditioned to solve problems. The educational system, with its emphasis on right answers and quantifiable results, molds our minds into problem-solving machines. We are presented with a series of challenges, from simple arithmetic to complex equations, and rewarded for our ability to dissect, analyze, and ultimately conquer them. This conditioning, while undoubtedly valuable in certain contexts, can also become a cage, trapping us in a perpetual cycle of seeking solutions, often without ever truly understanding the root of the problem. And so we carry this problem-solving mindset into all aspects of our lives. Relationship problems, financial problems, health problems, each becomes a puzzle to be solved, a challenge to be overcome. We seek expert advice, consult self-help books, attend workshops, all in the hope of finding the elusive solution that will finally bring us lasting peace. But what if the very act of seeking a solution is itself the problem? What if our relentless focus on finding the right answer blinds us to the deeper truth that lies within the problem itself? Consider the analogy of war. Throughout history, humanity has engaged in countless conflicts, each fueled by a complex web of factors, from nationalism and economic disparity to religious and ideological differences. Yet, despite our repeated attempts to solve the problem of war, it persists, morphing into new and ever more destructive forms. We create international organizations, negotiate treaties, and develop sophisticated weapon systems, all in the name of peace, yet the cycle of violence continues. Why? Perhaps because our approach is fundamentally flawed. Instead of seeking to understand the underlying causes of war, the divisive ideologies, the ingrained prejudices, the insatiable hunger for power, we focus on managing its symptoms, on finding more efficient ways to kill and conquer. We reorganize how to kill man better and call it progress. Similarly, in our personal lives, we often attempt to address our problems by treating their symptoms without ever truly confronting their root causes. We may seek therapy to alleviate anxiety, take medication to manage depression, or indulge in distractions to numb our pain. While these measures may provide temporary relief, they rarely address the underlying patterns of thought and behavior that perpetuate our suffering. So, how can we break free from this cycle? How can we cultivate inner peace in a world that seems increasingly chaotic and fragmented? Perhaps the first step is to recognize the conditioning of our minds, to acknowledge that our brains are indeed wired to solve problems. But this recognition is not an end in itself. It is merely the starting point, the foundation upon which we can begin to build a new way of being. The key, I believe, lies in shifting our focus from the solution of problems to the understanding of problems. To move beyond the superficial symptoms and delve into the deeper layers of our experience, to examine the underlying assumptions, the hidden motivations, the unconscious patterns that shape our reality. This requires a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to challenge our most deeply held beliefs, to question the very foundations of our identity. It demands courage, honesty, and a commitment to self inquiry that goes far beyond mere intellectual curiosity. And this is where mindful movement enters the picture. Mindful movement, in its essence, is simply the practice of paying attention to our bodies as we move. It encompasses a wide range of activities, from walking and stretching to yoga and dance, all performed with a conscious awareness of the sensations, emotions, and thoughts that arise within us. It is not about achieving a particular pose or reaching a certain level of fitness. It is not about forcing our bodies to conform to an external ideal. Rather, it is about cultivating a deeper connection with our physical selves, about learning to listen to the wisdom of our bodies, to understand the language of our muscles, bones, and tissues. Through mindful movement, we can begin to unravel the knots of tension and stress that accumulate in our bodies over time. We can release the pent-up emotions that we have been holding on to, often unconsciously, for years. We can reconnect with the innate intelligence of our bodies, the natural ability to heal and restore balance. But perhaps even more importantly, mindful movement can help us to cultivate a greater awareness of our thoughts and emotions. As we move, we become more attuned to the subtle shifts in our internal landscape, the fleeting thoughts that flit through our minds, the subtle emotions that ripple through our bodies. And as we observe these thoughts and emotions without judgment, without attachment, we begin to realize that they are not who we are. They are simply passing phenomena, like clouds in the sky, arising and dissolving without ever truly defining us. This realization can be profoundly liberating. It allows us to step back from our thoughts and emotions, to observe them from a distance without being swept away by their intensity. We begin to see that we have a choice in how we respond to our inner experience, that we are not simply at the mercy of our thoughts and emotions. And as we cultivate this sense of spaciousness, this ability to observe our inner world without judgment, we begin to experience a deeper sense of peace, a stillness that resides within us, regardless of the external circumstances. This is not a peace that is dependent on external conditions, on the absence of problems or challenges. It is a peace that arises from within, a peace that is rooted in self-acceptance, self-compassion, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. It is a peace that is found not in the solution of problems, but in the understanding of our own minds. The lady in the audience touched upon it earlier. If we approach problems with a system, a pre-programmed method of solving them, we are not truly understanding the problem. Instead, the system itself is operating, preventing us from seeing the depth and nuance of the situation. The art of living, therefore, is not about acquiring a set of techniques or strategies for managing our lives. It is about cultivating a way of being that is characterized by openness, curiosity, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. It is about living without conflict, understanding the opposing forces within us, and transcending the limitations of self-centeredness. It is about recognizing that we are not separate from the world around us, that we are all interconnected, all part of the same web of life. And that as we cultivate inner peace, we contribute to the creation of a more peaceful world. So, I invite you to join me on this journey of mindful movement, this exploration of the inner landscape. Let us move together, not as separate individuals, but as fellow travelers on this path of self-discovery. Let us cultivate inner peace, not as an end in itself, but as a means of creating a more just and compassionate world. For in the stillness of movement, we may just find the answers we seek. Thank you.